What if I told you that the best tasting root vegetable in the world is one you have probably never eaten? Close your eyes for a second. Forget the watery crunch of a raw carrot. Forget the bland starch of a white potato. Instead, imagine a flavor that is rich, aromatic, and sweet. Imagine the taste of roasted chestnuts blended with the finest baked potato, hiding inside a small, unassuming root. It sounds like a fantasy, doesn't it? But it isn't. This plant was once the crown jewel of European gardens. It was prized for a texture so floury and a flavor so complex that it made the common carrot taste like orange water. But today, you walk into your supermarket, and what do you see? Rows and rows of bright orange carrots, piles of generic potatoes. But this gourmet root, it is nowhere to be found. Gone. Erased from the shelves. Why? Did it go extinct? No. Did it taste bad? Absolutely not. It disappeared because the modern food industry decided that convenience was more important than flavor. They chose a vegetable that was easy to ship over a vegetable that was actually worth eating. But the seeds are still out there, waiting. Welcome to ancestral soil. The archive opens in the mid-19th century. We are traveling back to the cobblestone streets of Paris and the grand dining halls of Vienna. This was the Golden Age of Gastronomy, a time when food was not just fuel, but an art form. If you were a guest at a royal banquet in 1850, sitting under the glow of crystal chandeliers, you would see silver platters piled high with game meat, rich sauces, and exotic fruits. But often, the star of the plate was a small, grayish root. They called it the Gourmet Root, the Chervil Root. It was not a food for the poor. The peasantry ate turnips and rutabagas, vegetables that filled the stomach but offered little pleasure. The Chervil Root was different. It was reserved for those who understood true flavor. Let's open the pages of history to understand why. In the legendary horticultural Bible, The Vegetable Garden of 1885, the masters Vilmorin and Andrieux did not simply list this plant, they revered it. They described a flesh that was yellowish-white, firm, and possessed a texture that we have almost forgotten in the modern world: floury. Not mushy like a boiled carrot, not watery like a zucchini, but floury, dense, rich, and velvety. Imagine the taste of a sweet chestnut roasted over an open fire until it is tender. Now blend that with the savory depth of a baked potato and the slight aromatic sweetness of a parsnip. That is the Chervil root. French chefs treated it with absolute respect. They didn't drown it in spices. They simply boiled it, peeled it, and sautéed it in pure butter. That was it. The flavor was so concentrated, so naturally sweet and nutty that adding anything else would be an insult. For decades, this root was the standard against which other vegetables were judged. It was the definition of quality. It proved that a root vegetable could be elegant, it could be sophisticated. So look at the vegetables in your fridge right now. Ask yourself, do they inspire that kind of passion, or are they just fillers? The Chervil root was a king, but as the 20th century approached, a shadow began to fall over the gardens of Europe. The Industrial Revolution was coming, and the machines, they did not care about flavor. They only cared about speed. So, if this root was the king, why are you not eating it tonight? Why did it vanish? The history books will tell you it was too difficult, but that is a lie. It wasn't difficult for the farmer, it was difficult for the corporation. The villain in this story is not a pest, it is not a disease. The villain is standardization. You see, the industrial food system hates patience. It demands speed. It demands shelf life. And the Chervil root, it is a rebel. Unlike the carrot, whose seeds can sit in a warehouse for 3 years and still grow, the seed of the Chervil root is alive, fragile, and demanding. It loses its soul, its ability to germinate, in less than a year. A seed company cannot stockpile it. They cannot ship it around the world in hot containers. If they don't sell it immediately, it dies. For a profit-driven industry, that is a nightmare. But there's a second reason, a biological reason. The Chervil root refuses to wake up just because you put it in the soil. It demands stratification. It demands to feel the winter. It requires months of cold, damp darkness before it agrees to sprout. It follows the rhythm of nature, not the schedule of a factory farm. Modern agriculture looked at this plant and said, too slow, too risky. They replaced it with the modern orange carrot, a vegetable that is genetically obedient, a vegetable that grows fast, looks bright, and ships easily. We traded the complex chestnut flavor of the chervil for the sugary, watery crunch of the carrot. We didn't choose the best food, we were fed the most convenient one. And in doing so, we forgot what real nutrition looks like. But science has a way of revealing the truth. Let's strip away the marketing and look at the biochemistry. Let's put the modern orange carrot and the ancient chervil root into the laboratory. When you analyze a modern carrot, what are you actually eating? Mostly water, about 88 to 90% water. The rest is simple sugar and a bit of fiber. It is a hydration stick, painted orange by beta-carotene. Now analyze the chervil root. The results are shocking. The dry matter content in chervil root is nearly triple that of the carrot. This is not just a vegetable, it is a carbohydrate powerhouse. It is dense with complex starch, significantly higher in protein, and packed with minerals that it pulls from deep within the soil. Think about what this means for survival. If you are facing a harsh winter, or if the trucks stop running, you cannot survive on carrots. You would starve with a full stomach. You need energy. You need density. Here is the cold, hard fact. One small chervil root holds the caloric energy of 3 watery carrots. Read that again in your mind. 1 equals 3. While the modern world focuses on volume, how big the pile looks on the plate, nature focuses on density. The chervil root is efficient. It is a battery of life, designed to sustain you through the darkest months. The ancients didn't have laboratories, but they had wisdom. They knew that when the snow falls, you don't want a watery snack, you want the king of roots. Science has finally caught up with history. The ancestors were right all along. So, how do we take it back? You cannot find this root in the grocery aisle. The industry made sure of that. To taste the food of kings, you must return to the soil yourself. But be warned, this is not a crop for the impatient. Growing chervil root is a test of character. You must practice biomimicry, copying nature. Do not sow in the spring like a modern farmer. You must sow in the dying light of autumn. Bury the seeds just beneath the surface and then walk away. Let the frost bite the ground. Let the snow cover them. While you sleep in your warm bed during winter, the seeds are unlocking. The cold is not killing them, it is waking them up. Then, when summer arrives and the leaves turn yellow and die back, you dig. What you pull from the earth is not just a calorie-dense root, it is a victory. You are holding a flavor that has been hidden for 100 years. You are holding the proof that nature does not compromise quality for speed. The industry wanted you to forget the chervil root because it was too wild to tame. But you are not a factory. You are a gardener. The knowledge is not lost. It is right here, waiting for you to pick it up. The king of roots is ready to return to his throne. Will you plant the first seed? Welcome home.